This is a Canon RF 24-105 IS USM lens, and it's a lens that stays on my camera 90% of the time. This lens is the one that I usually tilt towards because that in my kind of shoot that I do, especially for events, sports, weddings, portraits, and YouTube content, this lens for the past 2 years has been remarkable, and this is my long-term review of it. This is Abeku. Subscribe to the channel and let's roll right into it. So for the Canon RF 24-105 ISM USM lens, I use it essentially for almost everything that I do, especially for events. It delivers sharp footage, amazing results. Even at an F4 lens, a lot of people might think that F4, especially for shooting night events, would have a little bit of downside. But with Canon camera bodies, especially with Canon RF Mark II and then Canon R8, you find out that there are ISO capabilities in those camera bodies where this lens paired with it gives amazing and incredible results. Even at its price point, in retrospect to other lenses that I have and compared to other lenses in the market, this lens is just really amazing. Now when you go to sports events, especially because the reactions are fast-paced, usually I tend to have this kind of lens almost all the time on my camera body. And the reason I have this lens is because that it is extremely versatile from 24mm all the way to 105mm. Especially for football and basketball, this lens is able to deliver really detailed shots and also really crispy, and paired with Canon camera science, this lens is really amazing. At 24mm, you're able to get huge wide angle lens and you're able to cover a lot of frame within the shot. And when you zoom in around 70mm all the way to 105, you're able to punch in and get really close up to athletes. This lens is really lightweight, and so when I paired with my Canon RF Mark II, in terms of my rig, I'm able to shoot for long hours without having any kind of fatigue or tiredness. When we're shooting weddings, this lens is really spectacular. It is a done-all lens. You can get 24mm, 35mm focal range. You also have 50mm, 70 or 85mm, and a 105. You can punch in at any point in time, and because that these events come spontaneous and the action that happen there are not the ones that are really predetermined, it helps you to zoom in at peak rate and get spectacular angles and shots that you want to deliver for your client. Whenever I'm shooting portraits, this is the lens that I use. I can easily zoom in and zoom out and have so many focal lengths that I can play with. That enables me to get high perspective in terms of getting diverse angles that I want to shoot. And whenever I'm doing talking head video that I sit here and use this lens, this is the lens that I use almost all the time. Even at F4, you still be able to get enough compression, especially at the background. So when I'm seated here and I'm using this kind of lens, usually I stay around 35mm all the way to 50mm, depending on the kind of shot that I want to put myself in the frame. And this lens is able to deliver those kind of great images and amazing video capabilities. So for me, this lens is an all-purpose lens. Sometimes when I leave this lens out of the equation and I use other lenses, I find myself struggling to adapt because of how versatile this lens is. It's an all-purpose lens, and for me, I think that I've not seen any lens that is easily adaptable, especially in terms of different scenarios and circumstances, like this Canon RF 24-105 ISM USM lens. Now let's talk about the autofocus and image stabilization on this Canon RF 24-105 ISM USM lens. This lens uses nano USM technology. The USM is ultrasonic modus. So usually with Canon's budget lenses, you're going to find that Canon uses the STM, stepping metal system on it. And with it, because that it is within the L glass series, red ring around it over here, it means that it is using the best technology from Canon in terms of autofocusing. Now the autofocus over here is very tack sharp, it is smooth, precise, it is accurate, especially with unpredictable subjects, especially when I'm shooting sports and also shooting fast-paced events. This lens will stay on the subject, track it from one point to the next, and give you incredible image out of it. Sometimes when you're shooting bands and they are performing, especially within a break when you're shooting sports, this lens is able to perform remarkable. And I really love the performance that comes of it in terms of autofocus. When it comes to the image stabilization on this lens, you realize that it has a button or switch that you can easily switch and toggle on the image stabilization. And with this, coupled with the Canon RF Mark II body, you are getting about 7.5 stops of image stabilization. What this simply means is that you are getting amazing image stabilization on this lens. Whenever I'm shooting, because these are fast-paced action that I like shooting in, this lens paired with the Canon R6 Mark II, it's giving an amazing result in terms of the image stabilization. This Canon RF 24-105 in terms of image stabilization and autofocus is next level. It is great. It is neck and neck against all the best lenses that I can find in the market. Let's look at the versatility on this Canon RF 24-105. That is a huge range of focal length that you can explore as a user. This lens is an ideal workhorse because I'm able to get wide shot at 24mm, which is great for shooting group photos and also group videos. And that means that when you are shooting at an event, you don't need to change lenses that are ultra wide, because 24mm can just step back a little bit. But also when you are shooting other kind of scenarios and you don't want to be in the face of people, you can just be at one corner, and from 70mm all the way to 105mm, you can easily zoom in and get better compression. 70mm above to 105, you're able to get a lot of compression at the background, and sometimes you're able to get cream bokeh that if someone does not ask the kind of lens that you use, they might think that you are even probably using a much better and expensive lens. It's way versatile than the 24 to 70mm or 28 to 70mm. Now let's look at the build quality and design of the 24-105. Having used this lens for relatively 2 years now, this lens has not had any kind of wear or tear with it. It is still going great. I like the accessories that comes with it. You have lens hood, you have lens cap and all that. So for me, when it comes to the front zoom dial that we've had over here, I've set it to ISO. So usually when I go to shoot any kind of situation, I'm able to bump my ISO quickly using this kind of front dial over here. Design and build quality over the last 2 years, this lens has held up well. So why has this lens remained on my camera body for the past 2 years and also for 99% of the time? Even when I'm shooting with my Canon R8, which has no in-body stabilization on it, I still choose to use this lens because of its versatility. Someone that is stuck to this kind of lens, I find it replacing this lens very difficult. Recently, I started using the 28 to 70mm f2.8. I really love that lens. It is great. I like the f2.8. The 24-105 is just really a staple. It's a lens that it's difficult to let it go because it does amazing in terms of all the scenarios that you put it through. You are shooting weddings, you're shooting sports, portraits, events, and even for shooting personal content. This lens is just really amazing. Price to value ratio is great. If I'm not someone that is affected by the F4, the F4 has not been a letdown because it still performs incredibly well, especially if you pair it with a camera body that performs great in ISO. This lens is just one of the best and most highly versatile lenses that you can find in the market. If you enjoyed this video, kindly subscribe to the channel. My name is Obiko and I'm going to see you in the next video. Peace out.